And welcome to Things That Go Bump in the Night. I am the digital guru, Joel Wilson. This is the Prop Stars Conversation episode with myself and Kat and another special guest again, Carolyn Ember, the cryptid. I've interviewed you before. I introduced your page to Kat, and I think that it's just going to be you two talking now.
Sure.
Absolutely. I'm gonna come in and I want to start strong. I know I told you this before I started, but or before we started recording today, but I have such a girl crush on you right now. When I opened that Instagram and I saw your OG, your original character that you created with the crazy skull mask, I was like, this girl is my soulmate.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Such incredible work. I have to ask you, what fever dream was this original character born from? Like, what it was the inspiration behind this?
Sure, sure. There was an older show back when I was a kid, that had featured the Wendigo, and so that's essentially what she's based off of. I tend not to call her that, hence why I call her just a cryptid. I don't want to be, offensive to those that are in that culture. So yeah, it eventually started off many nightmares, and my personal therapy was just to overcome the fear by becoming it. So it worked out pretty well.
It's immaculate looking. I immediately caught, I don't know if you're familiar with the Dark Crystal.
I'm
Um,
not.
okay, it's this older movie, I think from like the mid 80s. Jim Henson did all the puppetry for it, but it's these elaborate costumes in this fictitious world with just the most beautiful labyrinth style sets. And when I saw your character, I was like, oh my gosh, you look like you walked right off the set of the Dark Crystal. I did want to ask you, like, what materials did you use to build that? Because I think it looks gargantuan.
It is. It's very heavy. I 3D printed majority of it. So the antlers are 3D printed. The mask is 3D printed and very manipulated on because I was able to find source files, manipulate the living hell out of every single one of them. And then everything else is just sewn, stitched, or done by me. Like even the staff itself, the staff was actually like an old wizard staff with like a globe on it. I essentially cut the globe off. I basically broke the staff. I sawed it in half. I put a steel rod through it so that way I can put my full weight on it. And then I 3D printed the smaller deer skull to put on top of it. And
Oh
then
my
just did
gosh.
rope and everything else too. Like even her belt, her rope belt, I think that's at least 25 feet long. And we had to hand braid it. And that was an adventure in itself.
Oh
We
my
used like half
gosh.
our house trying to hand braid it because it not only braided but it gets wrapped around my body a few times. So that's an adventure in itself. And then yeah, everything else is painted, sewn, stitched by me. So yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine. How many hours would you say that that took you in total?
Oh God, hundreds. I feel like I'm working on
Wow.
it every week for the past 3 years.
Uh, Now I
Wow.
know that last time I interviewed you, since then we've doubled our listeners. We're now close to 160,000 people listening to us every single month. So I mean, we're going to be talking about the latest that you have there to your left as well. But I want some people to know when they're going to go to your page and they see the cosplay that you do, you've got like everything from air conditioning in there to, I mean,
I do.
it's high
Yeah,
tech.
I do. I do. There's a
Whoa.
lot of wiring and power throughout the suit as well. There is 7 fans on the body total. 5 can run at once. So the 2 others are actually in the pouches. That those are the backups. So there's 2 within the fan that run off the battery pack on my neck. There is a battery pack that gets wrapped around. It's one of the bigger fans. It gets actually hooked up on my neck. So that shoots in. And then I also have 2 on the back of either one of my knees that shoots up into the dress. That works really nice during the hot days.
It does.
Oh my
Those are the 5.
gosh.
Yeah. And then not only that, but there's essentially a cooling system in a way as well. There is a humongous water freezer pack on my back that sits there all day long. It's kind of like a camel pack, but it's got freezer pouches on either side that I shove in there. And so one sits on my back pretty much all day and I can feel it. And then the water spout actually runs up over my shoulder into the mask. And I use electrolyte water at all times. So I've got water on board whenever I need it.
That's miraculous. And how long is the suit up time? I imagine it takes you some
Oh,
time to get in.
Well,
a
that
I'm not
answered
long
it
gonna be
right
happy.
there.
a long time. It is exhausting just getting into the suit. Because
Can you do it
there's like,
yourself? How's
it's
that?
like full makeup because I do my makeup underneath because she's got her human side of it that I'll take off the mask and walk around and still look nice. Shower, makeup, suiting, everything. I would give it 3 to 4 hours.
Girl, I feel that. Oh my gosh, what a trooper. You blessed us with
It's
this
a journey.
character. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a work. I definitely.
Can you do it yourself, or do you need assistance to suit up?
Thankfully, I'm able to just suit up alone with Ember. Now, the new character, I
Yeah.
need squires.
Okay, well let's change and talk about this new one. Which have you brought it out in public yet?
I have only once. So the only fair that I brought it out so far is a Stronghold Fair here in Illinois. That was a few weekends ago. That was like her debut, her show of the day was Adara. So Adara Stagwolf is the new character's name. She is essentially the knight or the sword of Ember.
Wow.
Whoa. We got
Yeah.
some lore going on.
I do. I've already like started writing up her lore too and like getting that all like written up and developed as well too. So that's also another work in progress.
Ooh, can we get a little taste of what her
Yeah,
backstory is?
of course. So essentially just a quick gist of like where I'm kind of brainstorming with it is that so Ember, she mostly stays to the force. That's her home, that's what she's bound to, that's what she protects. So Adara, she's a fallen soldier. She is just lost. She just has no purpose. So she keeps hearing the lore of Ember, the lore of Ember. Even the way that Ember came about, why people started calling her Ember, was because that's what she would leave behind after Wrath. So she would leave embers of wrath. So they started calling her Ember. So she wanted to go. Adara wanted to go find Ember. Eventually, they found, and then they ended up doing a deal. Soul for power, essentially. So Adara gave her soul in response for stronger, heavy duty or power as a knight. So we're still working on trying to see if I want Adara to wield fire or not, similar to how Ember does. That's a work in progress. I may be thinking having the sword be the pyromancy power of her, just having the sword light on command. Because essentially Adara will be taking care of the foreign affairs. So problems outside of her realm of the forest that she cannot go to because she is mostly a spirit in a sense, whereas Adara keeps that humanistic form at all times.
Ooh, I got chills. This, I'm
Wow.
like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, when are the books dropping? When's the movie deal
I
coming? I'm so
know.
immersed. I'm so immersed in your world.
Now I,
Yes.
Wow.
I've asked Kat the same thing when she does like Homelander. When you do that, she becomes basically, I mean, you don't, but you become that personification. Do you do that as well when you don these two cosplays?
I do, especially with Ember. She kind of keeps that mysterious, quieter tone. I mean, if I'm interacting with children, of course, I'm gonna be chippy and like, hi,
Right.
But if I'm in character, yeah, I'm more spooky, more ominous, more in a haunting way. Like that's the way with Ember is that Ember still has a soul, so she can still feel emotion. It's just very blanketed. It's very like a blanket to a fire kind of a situation with Ember. So she can still feel emotion. So like when she's in character, she can still talk and like get around and whatnot. Whereas Adara, she still has her human version of her. She just has given away the right of her soul.
Are you still trying to find your way with Adara?
Um, Somewhat. She kind of, I think it's more like, I feel like just me in that sense, but more of like a like honor kind of a vibe to it, more of like a stronger vibe to her. Whereas like Ember, she kind of like sneaks around and gets around, whereas like Adara is more just bold.
Wow. Now
Hmm.
I look at that and I think that that wasn't done in a day.
No, thankfully this one wasn't as handcrafted for me as it was more just craft of the wallet. So
Ah,
that one was just mostly for like my work that I was able to do everything. I was able to just buy and compile together, which unfortunate. I mean, I can't craft steel, so that's one thing. It's a little bit harder for anyone to do. Rather, if it's just Ember, where I can 3D print stuff all day, every day. But this is actual steel, and I mean, same thing with chainmail.
wow.
Kind of throw that off a little bit too. This is all aluminum, and it's all handmade and everything else too. I would rather put the time into someone doing it for me rather than me spending a gazillion more hours trying to figure it out and maybe having it look good. um
Honestly, that's crazy.
yeah, and then so like what I've done to the outfit so far. This is Ember's sigil, so her night
Yes.
sigil. Essentially, I'll actually kind of spin it around too because she has it on her cloak as well. Let's see if I can show it in the camera decent enough. So
Yes.
this was on
Oh, that's
the cloak as
delicious.
well. So that
Oh,
is actually the sigil for the knight. So that's she pretty much took on the sigil when as soon as she did the deal to show who she's owned by.
is it
Yeah,
heavy?
so it's very, very heavy. Thankfully, the chainmail that I'm wearing is aluminum. That would have been one of the heavier items. So thankfully that's light. But the heaviest part is the pauldron, so the shoulder parts up here. If I have those off, I'm pretty good. But those are the heaviest part by far. Same thing with the metal skirt too. That one is also incredibly heavy as well. So thankfully I'm able to just take those off and keep my gorget on, and then chainmail and whatever else accessories. But these are able to come off of the gorget in the center. So that is thankfully very nice.
Kat, you really got me into this because I did not think when we were going to do this podcast I would ever hear anybody say the word metal skirt and chainmail in the same sentence.
I
I
mean,
forget the actual name of the skirt. I'm still learning all the bits and pieces, but yes.
we've had harnesses. We now have metal chainmail skirts. We're working our way through the entire wardrobe. I love it. That setup is gorgeous. For the viewers that are not watching the video and just listening to it on the podcast, words cannot put into descriptors how gorgeous of a cosplay this really
Uh-oh,
is.
what did you just pull out? That's what I was, look at that. Now you're talking
Ooh.
my language here.
I am, yes. So I also have the same sword that was featured in the Lord of the Rings. So this is also the same sword. It's just a little bit smaller. I wanted a somewhat smaller sword, but still easily probably whole arm length and a half. But yeah, so it's a good fun sword. It is sharp. It's not sharpened, so it really can't do any damage. But yeah, it's a solid steel sword. It's not 3D printed or anything, so that's fairly heavy in its own sort.
I gotta ask, when you put it back in the hilt,
Yes.
awesome. When you put it back in the hilt, does it make the shing? Oh, glorious! I needed that. Yes.
Yes, yes. So that it's very nice too because I was able to just put on like red ribbon around the ring on the actual backbone of it. So that was nice too to kind of make it match more. But yeah, all sorts of fun
Gorgeous.
stuff on that.
Now I
So
know that you've done the cons and you can go all day with being Ember. Is it a little bit more difficult with this to do an 8 hour or something?
It's honestly about, I would say 60-40. So it's easier to do Ember just because of the fan build. With Adara, she doesn't have as many opportunities to do the fans because there's no helmet. There's nothing to kind of hide things. There's no big hood going over my head or anything like that. So Ember, it's a little bit easier to hide fans, whereas Adara, it's really not. So if I am doing a fan, it's just getting hung over my neck, kind of a thing. So that's the only disadvantage. So the weight is about the same, ironically. Ember has a lot on her belt just between the battery packs and everything else too. We're talking 7 fans total. Whereas Adara, I can probably only do 4, maybe.
Now, you've
Yeah.
just brought this out, and I know that Ember was a work in progress and still always is. Is this going to be a
Mm-hmm.
work in progress as well?
Oh, definitely. I've already commissioned a couple people for some antler accessories. So basically like sawed off antlers that are going to be kind of hanging from the sword belt to kind of hanging down. Different accessories like that. Maybe even more sigils like on the legs or more leather bands or things like that that kind of give more character to it. Either outfit will never be done.
No, it won't. How do you decide what you're going to be when you go to one of these events?
Honestly, the friend group.
Oh,
So with either either outfit, I have either groups. One group actually does both. So that is really, really nice. So for example, with the night one, we basically did a night raid at that stronghold castle. I think there was almost a dozen of us in full armor, and I'm talking head to toe. There were men
wow.
in helmets and everything else too. There was almost a dozen of us. I eventually I'll find photos where we all are together, and yeah, we just all shown up there. But ironically enough, those same group of knights, I'm converting to be cryptids with me. So
Oh, you're
yes,
turning
there's
them to
like
the
a whole
dark
That's
cryptid
side.
army going
amazing.
on.
So are you
Couple of them have already done bird cryptids. I had another one that did a dragon cryptid. There's two working on right now doing a I believe one's doing a bear cryptid and the other is doing a fox, I believe. And there's another one doing like another bird with antlers. There's all sorts of things going on that I'm like helping out with right now.
So you're an enabler.
Yeah, I'm an enabler. Yeah, easily. The cryptid army grows.
Yes. Are they so are these cryptids that you're bringing into into your group, you're expanding your universe, I'm assuming they all are going to play a part in this lore you're developing.
Yes, I'm kind of
Okay.
hoping. So the bird ones already, the corvid cryptids, we're already talking about combining our lore because they already, technically, with them being bird cryptids, they already live in the forest in a way. So we're trying to mind boggle some lore ideas there too. Um, I'm sure next year when Ren Fair season comes back around, we'll touch more on it. Once we're all together again, because so far we've done one big meetup with the majority of them so far. Of that group, there's still a couple working on theirs, so I'm sure once we get it all done, we'll get it all figured out, do like a group lore per se. And like what's even funnier is that I've got some masquerade balls coming up in the next couple weeks, and I'm going as the human version of Ember, so ball gown but with antlers and like big black
Ooh.
antlers. So I've already created lore for even the masquerade balls for that too. So like everywhere I go, I like to kind of extend the lore if I'm going as Ember or Adara. And like even these masquerade balls, I'm hunting for souls. Like if I can take souls and convert them to cryptids, I win.
I absolutely adore this. And it sounds like Ember, in a weird way, is kind of like a mirror to a portion of yourself. And
It
it sounds
is,
like the
yeah.
same with Adara as well. So, like, what was the inspiration into building them into this greater story?
Honestly, just passion. Everyone would ask me, like, oh, what's the story of Ember or what's the story of Adara? Ember took a little bit longer because I'm trying to make her story unique and her own. So I'm always trying to do a spin off and trying to keep away from obviously the urban legend and keeping away from that just to keep it all separate. And just to make her her own. And once I had Ember created, I felt like it was a little bit easier to do Adara because there's not too many spins of a way that you can take a knight and have it be knighted to Ember. It's kind of just the deal, the hand trade per se.
Right, right.
So once I had Ember done, it was a little bit easier to do Adara's lore.
That is so awesome.
I do have to ask, you're
That is
going
so
on the
awesome.
masquerade ball. What's your significant other going to be dressed as?
He's not going actually. It's not his forte, which I totally respect. I've got a couple friends coming with me.
Because I know that I've talked to Kat and she's like, oh, you got to start doing this stuff. And I'm like, no way. And she's been dying to get me to do something. Now this
Yeah.
is interesting because we live in separate parts of the United States here. I'm in Myrtle Beach on the East Coast. Carolyn, you're smack dab in the middle in Illinois, and Kat, you're way out on the left coast in LA. I don't see how
LA.
you're going to be able to get me to do this, but I have a
Peer
feeling it's going to
pressure.
happen.
Peer
Yeah,
pressure transcends states.
honestly, yeah. Whenever you're ready, just the people to do it.
Hey,
I'm gonna get
Carolyn,
my
how can
girl
people
Carolyn
find
roped
you?
in on this.
How can they find you, Carolyn?
Ember the Cryptid. So I am pretty much on everywhere, but my main social media is gonna be Instagram. So Ember the Cryptid, CRYPTID.
I love it. Kat, you
Amazing.
got anything else for
Amazing.
her?
Honestly, I'm fresh out of questions, but I just have to say to our listeners out there, follow this girl. She's
Yes.
crazy. Her costuming is incredible. If you're into cosplay, if you're into Ren Fair, if you're into creepy pastas and horror, like horror folklore and stuff, this is the girl to follow. My goodness.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to have you on again and again because you are one of my favorites of all time. You are. And I know that you've got these two. Don't tell me there's something else in the works.
Oh goodness. Well, besides the masquerade ball outfit in its own, there's three outfits: masquerade ball outfit, Adara's night outfit, and then Ember's full cryptid outfit. Um, I won't be able to really show off the ball outfit, but I will have pictures shown eventually.
You will have to send me some of
Ooh.
those pictures so I can post them.
I will. I will. I have photos of it actually right now. I can send them to you later.
Sounds good. Well, we're going to wrap this up. This is Joel Wilson. I'm here with Kat and I'm here with Carolyn, and I will see you guys on the other side.
Bye.
Bye.